Shuckalaka kapow, how's it going, old schoolers? You're kicking it old school at Russell JS, and I am your host, Russell JS. Well, as you can see, I'm wearing my AC/DC hat and a Kiss t-shirt. What could that possibly mean? Another album versus album, track by track. You see, I went back, to some of the videos when I started doing these album versus albums. And, I remember one of the first ones I did was I put AC/DC Live against Kiss Alive 3, and I wasn't really happy with the outcome of the video. You see, I'd started doing these videos inspired by another creator that calls himself Almost Human 56. His name is Ralph, and he does like commentary. He talks, he's a total heavy metal connoisseur. He's based out of the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. That area in deep South Florida. And he's a big, huge Kiss fan as well, and a huge Van Halen fan. Now, there are things, I suggest his channel. Tell him Russell JS sent you. I mean, if you're a hard rock fan, you'll love his channel, although certain subjects, don't mind my hair, I just got out of the shower, so that's why it's kind of stringy looking. He does some things he talks about, if you're an uber Sammy Hagar fan of the Van Halen Sammy Hagar era, he dumps on it. But I'm a Sammy Hagar fan through and through, and I'm a Van Halen fan through and through, whether it's David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar. Do I think David Lee Roth is an egotistical idiot? Yes, I do. But, I just like to think I agree to disagree with him, but he inspired me to do these track by tracks. So anyway, I wanted to go back, and this video is called, as you could see at the bottom of the title of it, is AC/DC, Kiss Alive 3 versus, or AC/DC Live versus Kiss Alive 3 Revisited. Like I said, I wasn't happy with the way it came out, because I even mentioned the producer, all that crap. And, same thing when I put Led Zeppelin 4 against The Doors' LA Woman. If Principal Strickland from Back to the Future would have been here, he would have said, JS, you got a real attitude problem. You're a slacker. And you know what? He would be right. I am a slacker. I was a slacker. But here I go. I got the book ready. And here they are, AC/DC Live versus Kiss Alive 3. Now, I'm going to do this track by track. And the thing is, Kiss Alive 3 has a couple more tracks than AC/DC Live. And I remember that they did a special edition AC/DC Live as a 2-disc box set. So I went ahead and borrowed a couple tracks off of that. A track off of that, and one from the video Live at Castle Donington, where most of this was recorded. And I got the book ready. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put these two together. I don't remember who won the last time, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rate these Bad Oscar albums again. So without further ado, let's check these Bad Oscars out, shall we? And remember, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit a like, subscribe, leave comments down in the box below, ring the bell for notifications, and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your work colleagues, tell your pets about the channel. And also, I want to put in the video, once again, my father was once again diagnosed with cancer today, and he's going back into the doctor Wednesday. They found the cancer in his lung this time around. And the man hadn't smoked a cigarette in over 30 years. How ironic. But I do want to ask for you once again to have my father. We'll just call him Big Russell JS, because his name is Russell as well. Have him in your thoughts and your prayers. For him to have a speedy recovery and beat cancer once again. So without further ado, let's see how these Bad Oscars rank, shall we? Okay, in the case of AC/DC Live versus Kiss Alive 3, Thunderstruck versus Creatures of the Night. I love the intro to Thunderstruck with Angus doing that tapping throughout the whole thing and Chris Slade's drumming. And then Malcolm and Cliff go ahead and they start the rhythm going. And, Brian Johnson leading the charge on the lead vocals. But I feel that Thunderstruck is highly overrated. It's a good song, but I like Creatures of the Night better. So Kiss gets a point there. And oh boy, track two on both albums. I love both these songs. And I'm fair about this when the two songs are going against each other and I love them both. You know that they both got to get a point. Back in Black versus I Just Want to. I Just Wanna. Uh, yeah. Back in Black is a great song. I mean, it's a great send off to the late great lead vocalist Bon Scott. The whole album Back in Black. But it's been played too much and I Just Wanna never doesn't really get that much airplay even on Sirius XM on Ozzy's Boneyard or Hair Nation. So I'm gonna go with I Just Wanna. Once again, track number 4. I love both these songs. Who Made Who versus Unholy. I'm gonna give them both a point. Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be versus Heaven's on Fire. Oh boy. One of my favorite Bon Scott era AC/DC tracks going against Heaven's on Fire. Heaven's on Fire is a great song, probably one of Kiss's non-makeup era overrated tunes, but I like Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be much better. Jailbreak versus Watching You. Uh, I'm going with Jailbreak. Heat Seeker versus Domino. I have to go with, yep. I'm not really big on the song Heat Seeker, and I thought it was a corny video, so Kiss gets a point there. The Jack versus I Was Made for Loving You. Oh, again, there's two songs I like. I love that bluesy tone in, I mean, whether it was Bon Scott or Brian Johnson, and I love the way how solid the band sounds in that tune. And I Was Made for Loving You. I do love the live version, but I love the Jack better. Money Talks versus I Still Love You. Now, I Still Love You, maybe one of Kiss's more softer tunes, and it's going against Money Talks. But I'm not a big fan of Money Talks. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give the point to I'm gonna give I Still Love You that point. Okay. Hell's Bells versus Rock and Roll All Night. I always loved the live version of Rock and Roll All Night better than the studio version. But again, that's one of those songs. Both these songs are overplayed to death, but you know what? They're good. They're still great, decent tunes. So I think I like Hell's Bells way better. Dirty Deeds versus Lick It Up. Oh man, Dirty Deeds is one of their best tracks of the Bon Scott era. And Lick It Up was probably the first single off the album Lick It Up, which was Kiss's first album where they shed the makeup completely for the first time. So I got to give them each a point. Whole Lot of Rosie versus Forever. In the 1980s, Paul, when they took off the makeup and Kiss went the way of the hair band, Paul was really wanting to stick it with all these soft power ballads, it's all right, but I like a whole lot of Rosie better. You Shook Me All Night Long versus I Love It Loud. You know, that's one of those AC/DC songs that the radio and MTV really played to death. It's a good song, but I like I Love It Loud better. Highway to Hell versus Detroit Rock City. Oh, and I just want to let you know what's going on is so far, both these albums are tying. So there might be a coin flip involved in this if I can get my hands on a quarter or a nickel. Um, God, I really love Highway to Hell and I really love Detroit Rock City, and because that, I'm giving I'm giving them both a point. Okay, TNT versus God Gave Rock and Roll to You. You know, that's a really great track. TNT is an awesome track from the Bon Scott era, but you know, Brian Johnson does a great job on all the Bon Scott era AC/DC songs, but I have to go with God Gave Rock and Roll to You. I mean, yeah. Okay, let's see. For Those About to Rock versus the Star Spangled Banner. Oh, wait, hold on. Highway to Hell versus Detroit Rock City. Leave comments if I repeat this. I love both those tracks. So, once again, both get a point. Now, For Those About to Rock versus the Star Spangled Banner. You know, it was cool when Jimi Hendrix did the Star Spangled Banner at Woodstock. And the way Kiss did it, it sounds great. It sounds awesome. But For Those About to Rock, well, you know what? Heck it, I'm giving them both a point. And now, for the final decision on who wins this track by track, AC/DC Live versus Kiss Alive. AC/DC Live with 11 points, Kiss Alive 3 with 12 points. So that means the final score, Kiss Alive 3, the winner. All right, so there you have it with that track by track, album versus album. I hope you enjoy it. And like I said, have prayers and thoughts for Big Russell JS. I know he could use it. My father, let's hope and pray that he once again beats cancer. He just celebrated his 80th birthday, and 3 years ago, he beat cancer, and I think he could do it again. So now I want to go ahead and leave you all with, as always, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill. Keep listening to old school music, watch old school movies, watch old school TV shows, play some old school video games, kick it old school, get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, get you enough of less chaos, no chaos, get you enough of less drama, no drama, whatever your heart desires, get you enough of it, kick it old school. And as always, I want to wish you all Godspeed. May the force be with you always, and shuckalacka kapow. And prayers for Big Russell JS.